This is the 0740 GMT edition of the Khoodeelaar television channel, broadcasting under the banner of Baby Angel Geronimo editions in the morning of Friday, the 28th of July 2023. Now, in the Rupert Murdoch owned and controlled Times London newspaper, there is a piece, a factual report on the recently deceased Muslim woman, Shuhada Sadaka, previously known as Sinead O'Connor. Of course, all the items about her in today's Fleet Street, of course, are positive ones based on the evidence that she has left, including the promise that there will be a new number which she must have completed not long before she passed away. In the same piece in the Times, it is said that a decision has not been made yet about whether to hold an inquest. It is suggested by police linked sourcing of this story that the police may not be looking for any suspicious reason behind her passing. Now, that is just a short introduction. Of course, we shall be covering the main aspects of the contributions of the artist, the campaigner, for indefinite time to come, and including the fact that she spoke to a man opposite her, Harn Hill in Lambeth, flat which cost £3,000 a month. She recently rented this, and he said that she referred to Islam all in positive terms, which is historic, because in the Times, make the grammatical error, the Muslim religion, or Muslim faith, it's the Islamic faith, of course. Apart from that, the only time that the Times, in my understanding and knowledge, has mentioned Islam without any condition, prevarication, is this time. Now, that is a long time. Since long before she was born. So it is another factor that she has contributed, if you like, that her being a Muslim has now been followed by the fact that the Times, which never mentioned Islam in the way that it has mentioned today. So we shall be talking and commenting on these in due course more. Back to the criminality, the evilness, Nasty Nigel, Frankenstein Farage. We shall go back to that in a minute. This one is also in the Ephraim Hardcastle column, the gossip column in the Daily Mail today, refers to her being quite humorous as well. What she said, according to this entry, is that she never entered herself in one contest, which, if she entered one, she would have won the contest. And the contest is Rear of the Year award. She told the reporter or source, whoever mentioned this or contributed this, I had a very, I had a way better, and she talks about her backside, than Kylie in my day, adding, forlornly, I never entered myself in Rear of the Year when I should have. She should have entered and she should have won. That is what this entry is about. But going back to Nasty Nigel, the evilness, Farage, what they are celebrating today, apart from the Daily Mail on the front page, has got another piece for supporters and fans of Sinead. My beautiful, fearless but fragile friend Sinead by DJ, who knew her for 35 years. The other two items, one is Mick Jagger, who is reported as having celebrated his 80th birthday. And the main item is, of course, a kind of sick makingly out of order celebration heading Harry's hacking claim thrown out by court. Now, as anyone who watches this program would know, of the organs of state in the United Kingdom, the judiciary is, of course, a part of the organ, so called. But the British judiciary is absolutely corrupt. Absolutely corrupt. Absolutely corrupt. The judges are corrupt, the lawyers are corrupt. And of course, when it comes to any issue that is before the judiciary at any stage involving the newspapers, the British judiciary will never find any journalist or journalism or the media organ guilty. It will never do that. So, this is an insignificant, false heading. Harry's hacking claim thrown out by the court. One of the reasons why the Levison inquiry in 2011 was seen by at least some observers of the British media as being long overdue was contained in the proceedings, in the contents. Many of the so called witnesses that appeared before the inquiry chaired by the Liverpool born judge Brian Levison, the main feature was the actual contents, the exchanges between various individuals, and the contents of their actual exchanges, including the revelation that the dirty digger Murdoch considers the UK government as his property, as up to him to decide who is the British government and what the British government does. And the fact that Rebecca Brooks is paid millions of pounds under the pretext that she is the head of the UK operations for Dirty Digger is nothing to do with her skills or the abilities or her intellect, most certainly not. It is the role that Rebecca Brooks has been playing as his mole. He's the gangster, and she has been his mole, and she has been deployed to use the gangster's language, well, parallel language, let's say, to manipulate the already completely corrupt David Cameron, the completely corrupt, dishonest, and disgracefully of low character, the war criminal Tony Blair, and the various witnesses who gave evidence before Brian Levison actually vindicated the observation by observers of the corrupt media that a real rigorous examination of the behavior of the media was long overdue. Well, Levison inquiry was branded, in effect, Levison 1, suggesting that Levison 2 would be forthcoming. But as has been found, that was 2011. This is now more than 10 years later, and there is no sign of a Levison 2. And it is most unlikely that the Levison 2 would be allowed, even for the partial purpose of observing the exchanges, the witnesses, whatever the conclusion, because the entire British corrupt state establishment is controlled by the media. And what is the media? It's not the journalists, it's the ones that actually control the media outlets. These are the thugs and the criminals who decided that not one resignation was enough. Well, one resignation was not enough to satisfy the ego of the shaitan, the evilness, the Frankenstein, nasty Nigel Farage. So a quick one followed yesterday. And he is now saying that Davies, the chair of the group, should go as well. And that will not be the end of it. They would want, what they're trying to do is, because they got Simon, is it Simon Jack, the business editor at the BBC, who has been featured as the one who Alison Rose spoke to. I mean, he's under pressure, of course. And the reason why they have got they think they've got the kind of edge against the Coutts Bank and whatever is not because of the bank, not even because of the NatWest itself, but because it connects Farage being usable as a vulture to destroy the BBC. The idea of the BBC, remember, is similar to the idea of the NHS. It's similar to the idea of a society. And if you look at the actual contradictions in the coverage, there is no end to it. There is no limit to the number of lies and contradictions and denials that they have. This item on the dragging of this woman, Muslim woman, and her rape is not being reported. She was dragged and raped, and even worse, 40 of the 40 hours, 3 hours of the video CCTV evidence recorded inside the Manchester police station where the crimes by the police occurred, they've gone missing. Now, if you compare the shock effect of that, the outrageous implication of that, with Nigel Farage allegedly being denied banking, I mean, there is no comparison. Nigel Farage should not be there. It's this woman who was raped, drugged, and abused by women police. Think about that, women police. And 3 hours of the tape gone missing. And there is no outrage. There are about 10 aspects to that story, and they are not showing it. Not even the Guardian. So then you've got Malala Yousafzai. Malala Yousafzai, a teenage girl from Pakistan, has been raised to the highest possible platform that the Western imperialists can raise. Now, she's never reported as having any opinion about the attacks on women. Oops, Muslim women. She's silent about the conservatives openly saying to the Conservative MP Nusrat Ghani that she won't be allowed to remain a minister, or she won't get the proper promotions that she otherwise would have got because she's a Muslim. So her being a Muslim is being treated as a criminal, as a crime, as a disqualifier. And then there is this item in yesterday's, on the front page of yesterday's Communist Party morning scar, CPGB scar, and I'm looking for it, which is talking about the so-called shelter organization demanding a renter's charter, and the piece is juxtaposed between in terms of time because it has got a picture from a demonstration allegedly staged by the shelter outfit last month, was it? No, earlier this month. So it's not even this week, earlier this month. And it says, Renters Charter now. Families are served a Section 21 eviction notice, 172 Section 21 eviction notice every day. Now they're disrecognizing individuals because there are almost as many individual victims and targets of the Section 21 eviction notice as there are so-called families. So the media, even the Communist Party's morning scar, which is supposed to be critical and rigorous about the facts, is completely stupid and following the mainstream capitalist Fleet Street. It's a piece by and the byline is given to Karen or Saren Sagir. I don't know what language this is from, but the social affairs reporter. And he says, is it, if it's a woman, I don't know whether it's a man or woman. I'm not familiar with that particular culture to the extent that I could know by the name whether it's a male or a female. Renters groups, unions, and charities sounded the alarm yesterday. Now, yesterday meaning the Wednesday, the 26th of July. An open letter to Rishi Sunak called on the Prime Minister to take seriously the insecurity that is plaguing private renters in England and to speed up the passage of new legislation through Parliament. Data by the Office for National Statistics revealed last week that rents in Britain are now at the highest rate on record, up 5.1% in the year to June amid a cost of living crisis. It added that renters are almost 5 times more likely to experience financial hardship than homeowners. And Tuesday's official home homelessness statistics reported in the Morning Star showed that the number of households and children in temporary accommodation in England are at record highs. Westminster has announced reforms, Westminster meaning the Parliament, not Westminster City Council, reforms to protect renters' rights through a proposed bill which had its first reading in May, but no date has been set for a second reading. Campaigners have also slammed the Renters Reform Bill for containing little action on issues driving rent rises, including a lack of housing. Signatories to yesterday's letter, that is addressed to Rishi Sunak, coordinated by the Renters Reform Coalition, included Housing Charity Shelter, Community Union Accord, Joseph Rowntree Foundation, the National Union of Students, the Big Issue, Citizens Advice, and Independent Age. Now, Citizens Advice is completely dead, absolutely dead. Because if the Citizens Advice was not dead and active, or put it another way, if it was staffed by individuals who are not dishonest careerist opportunists, then there would not be this crisis of the extent that it is. It would be daily in the news because they receive or they ought to receive literally thousands of items of information confirming the extent to which people are being denied rights across the whole range of housing. Housing is not just one single accommodation, it is a lot. So we shall be continuing in an essay form on this issue later editions today because this is just an introduction. We are not able to spend the time that all these issues fully explaining required because of scheduling commitments that we have. So we have broadcast just now only about what 23 minutes, and we shall be continuing in later editions sometime today and beyond. So we're coming to an end at 0803 hours GMT.